All right, 7:30 on the dot. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 21 of Theology Nights after taking a week off due to some unforeseen water entry into the basement. But as you can see behind me, we have got the basement almost all the way back together. A little insight into my OCD, we'll call it. So over here on this side, I had to get everything back exactly where it was. And so I went through my photo album and I found pictures of my bookshelves and how everything was set up. And then I counted the wood panels in the pictures so I could line them back up the exact same way. Because and I even said this to my wife, I said, you know what bugs me the most is how I'm going to have to set all this back up. And it would have bugged me really badly had I not been able to put it back exactly how it was. I got pretty close. Grace and peace, Brother Edwin, everybody else who is here, thank you for joining tonight. We have a fun episode, the one I wanted to do last week. One of our viewers submitted an idea. I am a big Logos guy. With the upgrade to version 8, I love it even more. However, I know that it's not a resource that everyone wants to use, wants to learn how to use. It might be overwhelming. And so somebody said to me, why don't you take us through some resources that you can use online that are free, resources that are a little bit more accessible, that don't require watching training videos. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to walk through, let's see what I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My top 5 resources, not like podcasts or videos or things like that, but my top 5 resources that I would suggest somebody use. And we're going to start with basic and then kind of work our way up to there. And then at the end of the show, towards the end, I'm going to conclude with a picture of, I'm going to do a little screen flow of my Logos, and I could show you a little bit of that. If you have the chance to get version 8, just real quick, not sponsored by Logos. They're not giving me anything for free for saying this. It's just my unbiased opinion. The software has improved so much since 7. Besides all of the stuff that they added, the better features, and they improved the notes. They added some new things that you could do with the software. Besides all of that, just the fact that the software runs better is worth it. Just for that fact alone, it's worth getting 8. If you have the ability to do so, I strongly recommend it. I'm going to save it for the rest at the end of the show. We'll talk a little bit more about that. As we take care of some basic business, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/Theology Nights, and follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Theology Nights. But again, if you followed pictures and videos and stuff like that, we had a lot of water in our basement, and last Thursday I had to leave Simeon Trust, come home, dealt with it until actually yesterday. I was able to get it all back together. The office area, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's because I vacuumed. Maybe that's what did it, but it looks better down here now. The carpet looks great. Bronze or gold version. Edwin, so I actually have, so real quick, I'll Doctrine and Devotion they're a podcast. They did a Logos 7 giveaway for all our podcast listeners. You entered the contest. I got picked, and so I won the Reformed Platinum package. So I have like one of the bigger ones. It's like, there's just so much in it. It's something that I would never be able to afford. However, I won a podcast giveaway. And so it's helped me tremendously in sermon preps, in seminary work, in study for the show and for articles, and just a little bit of everything. I can't speak highly of it enough. Again, there's going to be some people that it's going to be too much for you. I get that. It sort of is like if you want to edit pictures, you don't necessarily jump into Photoshop to do it. You might start with something more basic and work your way up. Mike, you literally just told me 2 hours ago that you were thinking about getting an iPad, and now I look better on an iPad. That's great. I'm glad you got one. But anyways, we'll talk about Logos at the end of the show. Update, basement is back to normal. Everything's good. And then one other thing too, I want to mention this so I don't forget. If you are now listening to the podcast, and I would encourage you to watch the video if you can, because I'm going to show all of the resources that we're going to talk about on the screen, and it would be good for you to see some of the things I point out. So for the podcast only listeners, make sure if you get a chance, jump on, watch the show. It'll help you out tremendously. So again, with that being said, tonight we're going to go through my top 5 free Bible study resources that you can use online. This is going to help the new believer. It's going to help the sort of maturing believer, and it's also going to help somebody who is a seasoned veteran. Every one of these sites, I think, can impact each one of us. And so, again, it was a viewer-submitted idea, and I thought it would be pretty cool to do because, again, I know that Logos is not accessible by everyone. It's expensive. I won't sugarcoat it. It's expensive. Everybody who knows anything about Logos knows that it's expensive. It is a resource-heavy program. It takes a pretty good machine to power it. Thankfully, though, they've made some improvements with the desktop software. The web app is much better. The mobile app is much better. It's almost like they took all of the suggestions that everybody made on the forums and made those improvements. Shocking idea, I know. Companies listening to their users. Anyways, without further ado, again, podcast listeners, make sure you watch the video so you can follow along. With that being said, the first resource that I wanted to point out is a resource that is called Blue Letter Bible. Now, when I first became a Christian, this was one of the original sites that somebody sent me to. It was as I was beginning to grow in my desire to teach Scripture, and I wanted to improve. This was one that was suggested to me to use. It's a good way to get us going into more in-depth study. One of my favorite things about this is the ability to look at multiple translations next to each other. So here, let's just walk through a couple of these things real quick. So up at the top right-hand corner, you can search, which is really cool, by verse, word, or topic. So let's search by atonement. Now the cool thing is here is you can actually pick what version that you want the atonement to pop up in. Now this is just searching the Bible. So I'm going to show you one other thing here in a second, but let's say you want to learn more about the atonement, and in the ESV version, you would just type in atonement and then click ESV, and then you click search. And then on your page here, it's going to pop up all the verses that talk about the atonement. And it's actually pretty cool because let's just pick one here, Exodus 29:33. If you click on this tools, it'll actually break down the text for you, and it'll show you the original language. It'll allow you to look at other Bible versions as well. When you click on that tab right there, it'll show you the translations for multiple Bibles right next to each other, which is very helpful when you're trying to compare what each version says without having to open up like multiple tabs and go to each different site and click on it. You can just pull that verse right up there and it'll show you all the different references. You can go to cross references. It'll show you different phrases and where they come. And then also, this is a pretty cool section too, is this commentaries. The commentaries here are going to be more intro level commentaries. Matthew Henry is one of the popular ones. But if you look down here, you'll see that Spurgeon pops in. And then you can actually see the specific ones here for the verse that we're talking about. But it shows audio, video, so you can get, if you want to listen to it as you're driving to work, or if you want to watch a sermon, it'll actually provide the resources for you. So this is a great resource. Let's say if you're at a Bible study, okay? And you are sitting in and you're learning more about something, and you jot down some questions, and when you go home, you think, where should I go if I want to learn more about this word? Like say, for example, propitiation. That's a word that a lot of people ask me what it means. You could go to Blue Letter Bible and you could type that in, and it'll pull out all the verses that mention that. And then to take it a step further, up here at the top, let's go back to the home screen. So up here at the top, if you click on search, what's really cool about this, it'll allow you to do like a more in-depth search of Scripture. You can actually go here and then you can click on study. It'll let you do a little bit more in depth. It'll let you select commentaries specifically. It'll let you go through articles and books. It'll let you kind of it'll do a little bit more than just picking out like specific verses that you want to see. It'll let you go a little bit more in depth. Again, Blue Letter Bible. I think that's the best way if you're you're thinking, okay, I've been watching the show for a while, and all these books that you recommend are great, but it sounds like they're a little overwhelming for me. Where should I start if I want to take first step in order to grow in my study of Scripture? Blue Letter Bible is something that you definitely should put in your favorites. Number 2. This is, and I say I'm going to say this in front of the next 4, but this is one of my favorite sites. Hey, little buddy. I use this site regularly. I think it is such a valuable resource, and not many people know about it. The site is called Monergism, monergism.com, and it is there's so many resources just right here. Without even talking any more about it, there is so much that we can see just from this site. And the great thing about all these resources, and I'm going to say this a couple of times, all these resources are free. We're going to get to one where you can take seminary level classes and they're free. So everything is free. Now, there are some subscriptions that you can purchase and things like that, but everything that I'm showing you is free. There's not any hidden catch or anything that you're going to have to pay for. It's nothing like that. All these sites are free. So Monergism. This is, how would I describe this? This is going to be used for articles. So it'll help you to find scholarly articles that were written by professors of seminaries. It'll help you to find articles that were written by pastors and maybe authors. But as you can see just from the homepage here, there's so much. And just real quickly, look, you can search by topic, you can search by author, you can search by scripture, you can search by series. Over here on the right, you have their latest links, which is actually pretty cool because this is something that I try to do. And John, if John Hawkins is still watching, he does this also. We try to collect links from the internet and provide them for our audience. He would agree with me. We don't have the market cornered on theology and for podcasting and for videos and teaching and stuff like that. And so that's kind of why I wanted to do something like this, because I want people to realize that there is so many good resources on the internet. And I certainly wouldn't want anyone to avoid something else just because they're not, if they don't know about it, they can't use it. And so that's what we try to do. We try to point people to good resources. And so as we collect links throughout the week, we post them online. And that's what Monergism does here all the time. They have this latest links section where you can scroll through here and you can see all kinds. They have MP3s. You can listen to audio. Article here by James White. This is a exposition of Spurgeon that he wrote. Just the names here: Sinclair Ferguson, D.A. Carson, Ligon Duncan. The quality of theology that you're getting through this site, and this is we haven't even clicked on anything yet. There's just so much here that you can do. But down here at the bottom is this Start Here link, and I think this is really good. This gives you an overview of basically where to begin reading. So it breaks it down by sections, and it says here, first-time visitors. Here are some of the resources that they recommend the most to those that are new visitors. So John Calvin, Spurgeon, Calvin again, Jonathan Edwards, R.C. Sproul, Martin Lloyd-Jones. The resources, the authors that they're giving are solid. That's a great section for anybody, but then look at down here. You can take somebody here, and it says New Christian. So if you were, let's say you're in a conversation, and as I mentioned a lot of times too, like when we're talking with a new believer, or maybe we're witnessing to somebody who has just professed Christ, we often worry about they're going to ask us a question that we might not be able to answer, and so we're a little bit more timid in our sharing of Christ. This is a site that you could send them to. Tell them to go to this website, and then right here it says First Steps, New Christian. What do we do? And then down here at the bottom it says, look, what is the cost of being a Christian? It goes over basic Christianity. What should I pray for? Can a Christian lose his or her salvation? What is the will of God? What is the Trinity? So we're seeing here basic stuff that will benefit the new believer. Again, that's why it's the new believer section. There's also some audio that's posted here as well. And then you go down to the next section and it says disciple. These resources are for Christians who have known Christ for a short period of time and have already worked through. Then we have another section here. It's growing in grace. Somebody that's maturing even more. Somebody who's in leadership. Somebody who's a pastor. And then down here they have this great section of apologetics, and questions that skeptics often ask. I think this is a good section, especially for today, because there's so much. There's so many people that are in the church that are afraid to share their faith with an unbeliever, or maybe somebody of a different religion, because we're worried that they're going to be able to trip us up. Apologetics is a very important area that we need to study. And then the doctrines of grace. This allows you to learn more about, I know it's a horrible word to say, but Calvinism, Reformed theology. It allows you to learn about, the total depravity of man, God's election, particular redemption, the effectual grace, and the perseverance of the saints, preservation of the saints. They have it on here. Let me also have some articles that are related to the doctrines of grace. Again, this is going to be a not that this is like a surprise to anybody that this is the way that I lean, but this is a more reformed site. It's obviously not. It's just a more reformed site. We'll leave it at that. But the great thing about this website is the amount of content that's on here. So let's do atonement again, because that's going to be the theme. So you search for atonement, and your search, it says here, is, let me flip back over, 647 results for articles about the atonement. Just on one website, 647 results. And look at how cool this is, because you can actually go on here and you can break it down a little bit more. So there's free ebooks on the atonement if you want to read more. There is MP3s on the atonement. There is a breakdown of forgiveness, the gospel, and then you can go down here and you can actually see it broken down by author, which is really cool. So if you're looking for somebody specific on a topic, you can click over here and go by author. But if you know the theme that you want to study, you can actually see right there all of the authors that have contributed articles as well. And then as you look through here, this main section displaying 1 through 30, and then down below, these here are all going to be websites. But then look at these. There's PDF files down here. There's audio and MP3 teachings as well. There's going to be a large variety of things that you can use in order to grow in your knowledge. Can't say enough good things about that site. It has really been it's weird. Like, not a lot of people know about it. And it's such a good site. There is so many resources for free. Again, these are all free resources. So that's number 2. That's Monergism. Number 3, and this is probably going to be probably tied for the one that everybody knows about. Number 3 is going to be Ligonier. If you are familiar with R.C. Sproul, the late Dr. Sproul, this is the ministry that he started. Another one of my favorite sites is Ligonier. This site is going to be a little bit of everything. It's going to focus on video resources. It provides a lot of classes and teaching through videos. However, it provides more than that. It is sort of it is like a one-stop shop for podcasts and articles and blogs, and for video teaching and for audio teaching, a little bit of everything. Has daily audio. Let's look at the homepage here. Right as soon as you're on the homepage, you can see there's a daily audio from Dr. Sproul. There's daily video. There's a daily devotional. There's also articles here from the blog as well. So I mean, there is a lot of content that you can get here for free. And as this is popping up on the screen here, this $5 Friday. I linked to one of these articles before. Every Friday, Ligonier offers various articles or video teachings or books or ebooks, stuff like that. $5 every Friday. Make sure you bookmark it if you at least do nothing other than check it out on Fridays. Look at that. Oh, the State of Theology. Somebody did a podcast episode on that. I wonder who did that. Check it out on Fridays if you do nothing else, because some of the resources that they put on there, I mean, you can really get it for a steal. It's a great thing to have bookmarked as well. Check it every Friday. But there's 2 important highlights that I want to show here. Number 1 is the amount of classes that they offer. So if you click on the Learn tab right here, and just real quickly, I'm not going to go through every single one, but there's a couple that I do want to show because I think they stick out the most. If you click on Teaching Series, and it'll come up here. If you click on Show Free Series Only, all of these things here are free teaching series from Ligonier. So, like, for example, this is the holiness of God. This is Dr. Sproul's one of his most well-known books, and he also had a video series on it. And just real quickly, I'll just pop it up here on the screen. And this is old school Dr. Sproul, but this is his series called The Holiness of God, and you can go through it for free. There are 4 sections in this one, and then look at all the different sections that they have in here. So, I mean, you're getting 20 or 30 videos that you can learn specifically about the holiness of God, and it's no charge. And again, they have just the audio version as well. But, I mean, this is great stuff. I mean, that's old school Dr. Sproul. Look at that guy. Man, I miss him. But that's free. This is free. This is available for you 24 hours a day. And then let's look at another thing real quick too. So again, you go back to teaching series, and then click on show free series only. You can do it by popularity. If you want to learn more about Reformed theology, you can click on that way. But this is a cool one here. If you're familiar with these guys. You can listen to some of the debates that Dr. Sproul had with some people. John MacArthur, for example. This is another great resource that they have on here. I mean, you can go back to look at this. Like, you can go through Scripture Index, and you can view all of these resources are free. Again, this is the 19th time I've said that, but I mean, unbelievable. Ligonier is one of the best resources that you could use. They are such a gift to the church. And another resource that I think is just as good, but maybe I'm a little biased towards this one because he's our local guy, is Truth for Life with Alistair Begg. So if you're not familiar, for us in Northeast Ohio, we are lucky enough to have Alistair in our backyard. He is the pastor of Parkside Church, which is just outside of Cleveland, a little south of Cleveland. From our area, it's just about an hour. He hosts what's called the Basics Conference every year, and a group of us always go up. I've been to Sunday morning services before. The church is unbelievable. But they also have with that is called Truth for Life, which is the Bible teaching ministry of Alistair Begg. And so with Truth for Life, you are getting... I tried to pick one thing that each of these sites did most effectively or well, or what they might be known for. And Ligonier and Truth for Life they're both just as good at doing everything, but Truth for Life is a great resource for your commute. The Bible teaching ministry of Alistair Begg, you can listen to all of his podcasts. You can listen to his sermons. Look at this real quick. Let's go over here. We'll go to sermons and then by scripture. And so now you have access to Alistair's library of all of the sermons that he's preached. And so you can go through and let's say you want to hear more about, Titus. You want to see all the sermons that he's ever preached from the book of Titus. There you go. And they're all free. Some of them are going to be, let me see here. Okay, so this is actually from Basics 2011. So this will probably have video. Let's click on one of these just so we can take a look at it. And title of the sermon, Shepherding as a Lay Elder. This only has audio, but it'll actually give you the scripture that he's using. Then you can go back and you can search by topic as well. If you click up here, go to sermons, go to topic. It'll show you different themes. So like if you got, let's say for example, if you were at Monergism and you wanted to, the dogs are down here now. If you wanted to, after you were researching a specific topic and you said, hey, I wonder if Alistair's ever preached a sermon on it, you could go to Truth for Life, and all of his sermons by topic are arranged here. It'll give you the ability to listen to it audio, and it's a great resource for your commute. That's why I picked this, because there's so much. And you can also go to broadcasts. So there's the Truth for Life radio show, which we get on a local channel. I think it's through Moody. But you can also listen to it you can subscribe through your podcast app. There are all kinds of different things that they are very good boys. Yes, they are. There are all kinds of different shows that they do. He posts sermons, but it's every day. So it's a good thing to subscribe to through your podcast app. Again, I'm partial to Alistair. He's had a very big influence on me. Shortly after I became a Christian, I went to my first basics conference, and that was when I really fell in love with theology and just realized the importance of growing and my knowledge of Christ. And so I owe a great debt to Alistair, and I've transparency. I've asked him a couple of times to come on the show, and I know one day he's going to say yes. Not quite there yet. However, I still love him dearly, and he has encouraged me to from afar to grow, and I am so in debt. Brother Bob says, "Do you ever debate Leighton Flowers?" I have not. I have not reached out to him. However, I would not mind doing that. He is definitely more knowledgeable than I am, but I think we would have a good conversation. I think we could encourage one another in our knowledge and in our understanding of Christ. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll reach out to his team. Okay, so then the last one. Now this is, as I said, I tried to go in order. I tried to increase. This one is more in-depth study, more classroom setting. It's called biblicaltraining.org. This is a resource that you can do right here. Attend the class. So let's take a look down here. You can pick classes, it says, that are just right for you. So new believers, all Christians, church leaders, pastors, whatever you want to do. But let's take a look here. Let's explore the classes. Okay, so classes. Click on this. Okay, now you have access to all of their classes that they do here. Now let's see. I think you guys remember this guy. Okay, Dr. Beale, Biblical Theology. Now, just to let you know, you do have to create an account in order to access this. But for example, here's one of the classes
provided by Biblical Training. The speaker is Dr. Greg.
Acquainted, fruitfulness in the new creation, and then there are these texts in the midst of those discussions say God's people will even bloom and bear fruit.
So these are seminary level lectures from some of the top scholars in the world, like for free on the internet, 24/7. You don't have to go anywhere. So if you want to take more theology classes, you just click on theology here. And it even gives you basic, intermediate, and advanced. There, and it'll tell you down here if you want to learn more about Martin Luther, that's an advanced class. If you want to learn more about Hinduism, that's a basic class. If you want to learn more about Wesleyan theology, that's an advanced class. If you want to learn what the gospel is, that's a basic class. The amount of resources, this is, and Bill Mounts, like, he is the leading Greek scholar, I think. That's who I use for my textbooks, and I think most seminaries use Bill Mounts. But, I mean, the amount of... Let's look here on the staff. Let's just get some names pulled up here. You can listen to them on the app without an account. Okay, thank you, Edwin. If you download the app, you don't have to have an account. So let's see some of these names that pop up. So Bill Mounts is the founder and the president. Again, he is the leading Greek scholar as far as I know. And then let's go to our professors. Okay, so this guy here, do I even need to say anything else? Dr. Beale, he is on here. Dr. Blomberg, Dr. Bach. He wrote these two right here. Hold on. Dr. Bach wrote... Where's my mouse? Right here. You can't see it. Those two copies. That's Luke. He wrote one of the best commentaries on the book of Luke. Look at these names on here. These are all Brian Chappell, Wayne Grudem. Look, the amount of resources that are on here. Dr. Kruger, he's one of... I mean, there's so many good resources on here. It's unbelievable. Dr. Moo, Douglas Moo's one of the guys. But again, this is... So, bookmark that site. If you're really interested in learning more and growing in a classroom setting, now, and this isn't a site that you're just like, you're going to have to invest some time with these resources because they're classes that the goal is to build on the class before. So it's kind of hard to just jump into one and then not return. But if you think, okay, I'm not going to be able to go to seminary, I can't afford it, I don't have the time to go back to school, any of those reasons that pop up, and then you say, but I would love to grow in a classroom setting, this is the site that you need to use on a daily basis. The amount of resources that are available on this site alone for free, it's enough to keep you busy. So again, Blue Letter Bible, Monergism, Ligonier, Truth for Life, and then lastly is Biblical Training. So I reserved the last part for Logos. Now, a couple of things I want to say about this too. Logos does have a free, they have a free app, which is basically just the Bible with some resources. It's a free app. You also have the free web app. So if you are interested in trying it out to get a little bit of a feel for it, you can do that. My suggestion, if you're interested in Logos, there's a couple of things you have to do. Number one, you have to realize that it's not cheap. Again, anybody who uses Logos is going to tell you that it's not cheap, because it's not cheap. It really isn't. Number two, you're going to need a good computer to run it. It's just like any other resource-heavy program, like Adobe programs. When you use those programs, you know that you are going to have a strong computer. Same thing with Logos. Now, again, with version 8, they have really improved the quality of the software, but it still is a resource-heavy. And another thing too is Logos is not for everyone. They don't market it towards everyone because they realize that not everyone is going to benefit from it. There's a lot of, you actually have to put time in to learn the software. Now, they've done a really good job of providing videos in classrooms and things like that, but you really have to commit time. The guys that I'm friends with that use the software on a regular basis, we are constantly trading ideas and things like that, because every day I feel like we're coming across something that's new, that we're learning about the software. But honestly, for anyone who is a serious student of Scripture, and I don't mean student in the seminary level only. I mean somebody who has committed to their growth in their knowledge of Christ, and they say, okay, I have the resources that money is not an object. I want the best. I want the Cadillac. Logos is definitely that. If you are a teacher in any sort of setting, a pastor, elder, a Bible study leader, anything like that, this is such a great resource to have. But again, if you're just, I'm petting my dog while I'm doing this. If you're just a casual Bible study person, this software is not going to appeal to you, because you're not going to get everything out of it. It's actually going to be a little bit overwhelming, because the software there's a lot to learn to it. So again, 3 levels of Logos. There's the desktop version, which gives you all of the features. There's the web version, which is a little bit slimmed down from that. And then there is the mobile app, which is even more slimmed down. They've improved it drastically, but let me pull up here on the screen. Let's go over here. Okay. So this is, and I'm not going to do an in-depth review of the software, because I know that if you're interested in learning more about Logos, I'll be more than happy to post video after video of my screen flow and things like that. But I wanted to do just a high-level overview of what one of my layouts looks like. So I'm studying through the book of Ephesians right now, and this is, this little red book right up here at the top, I click on that, and this is the window that opens. So you can save layout. So it's not like I have to, every time I want to open all these resources, I've got to open each individual one. You can actually save the resources that you want to, and you just click on this and it automatically opens all this. So on the left-hand side here is my Bible. So I have the ESV, I have the NET, I have the NASB 95, I have the NIV, I have the CSB, I have the CSB with the notes, and then I have the Reformation Study Bible with notes as well. So I have those all right next to each other. The ability to compare translations is right there, and what the cool thing is see these little A's right here. Everywhere that has an A, all of these are linked together. So if I do one thing on here, it reacts somewhere else, which is really cool. So like, let's say for example, I'm in Ephesians chapter 3 on this screen. Let's say I click over to chapter 2. All of my other resources change automatically to chapter 2. It's also cool because over here on the right-hand side is where I have some commentaries. So just to kind of highlight, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different commentaries open. Now the last 2 are going to be original language commentaries, but the ability to, now watch this, this is pretty cool. So the ability to just view, like click on chapter 2 for Ephesians, and that changes over in my commentary automatically. So I'm in Ephesians chapter 2, and then my commentary jumps to Ephesians chapter 2 as well. Click on this one, it's linked as well. That one goes to chapter 2. If I want to go to chapter 4, it changes my Bible, and then it'll also change the commentary to chapter 4. And then also down here is where I do this bottom window is kind of, and I'm in the way. You can't even really see it. Let me move my window. Look at me moving across the screen. Whoa. So over here on the right, this is where I have some more of my dictionaries and some of my encyclopedias. But I do a layout here of what we have as a passage guide. This is a really in-depth resource. The passage guide is going to pull up for every. This is seriously about to crash on my live show. That section. Oh, there it goes. I was close. I'm telling you, it's a really heavy resource program. That would have been funny. But the passage guide gives you all the resources available for Ephesians chapter 1, and it'll show you cross references. And then there's another resource here, all parallel passages. So you can type in a section and you can view where Paul talked about those sections as well. In other places, then you have your library over here. The library is just it's quite extensive. So again, there's going to be a lot of resources that, I mean, you might not use a lot of this stuff. But again, this is not like, let me click back over to the big screen. You shouldn't say, oh yeah, that looks great. I'd love to have it so I can have multiple Bible translations open next to each other. So let me go spend X amount of dollars to have Logos. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. The software is overwhelming. It really is. There is a lot. I cannot stress this to you enough. If you are serious about buying the software, you have to commit to watching training videos. You will not learn the software without doing that. There are people that can help you and give you their tips, and I can explain how I use the software effectively. You can go onto the forums and you can see layouts and read about how people use their versions. But listen, if you are serious about the program, you have to watch the videos. They will drastically improve your knowledge of Logos, and if you are not watching training videos, you are not going to figure out the program, and you're basically just going to end up wasting a lot of money because you're not going to get the full value of the software. Another great thing about the software is they offer student discounts. So if you are in school, you can send in a copy of your ID. They'll enroll you in their academic discount program, so that'll save you a little bit. A lot of blogs give out coupon codes. They're running sales a lot of the time. But I would encourage you just to go on to logos.com and just browse around. I mean, they have basic introductory level software packages that if you say, okay, I just want to get going with it, you can get a very reasonable package. So that's probably the easiest way to describe it. They also have subscription-based services too, where you get new features, but you're not committing to a couple $1,000 library. That's another thing I'd recommend too. Don't necessarily because they have different levels. They start at standard, and then they have bronze and silver and gold, platinum, and then diamond and like super ultra mega portfolio. And some of those packages, there's a lot of resources that you're never going to use, just frankly. So the best thing to do if you are serious about Logos is find the features that you think you're going to use the most. Don't be too concerned with the library, because don't get me wrong, it looks really cool to like go through some of these lists and see like all the resources that you're going to get and think, oh my gosh, I want that package. But it's more important to see the features that you're actually going to use. Again, I could talk for hours about Logos and all the different things that I use the software for. I literally use the software every single day. It's just an all-in-one place for Bible study and for teaching and for study and it's a great resource. If you are interested in learning more about it, please feel free to message me. I'd be happy to talk more with you. I'd be happy to point you in the direction of good videos and resources. I'd be happy to encourage you with some advice and point you in the right direction. If you're interested in it, I'd be happy to help you with it. But again, don't feel discouraged. Like if you go to the website and you think, this is not for me. It's not for everybody. It really is not. It's any free resources for reviewing various translations side by side. Yes, Cheryl, if you go to blueletterbible.com, that was the first one that we looked at. You can view different translations. They have like 20 different translations that you can view all at once. Edwin, message me after the show. I'll put you in touch with some good resources as well. We can talk more about that. But Cheryl, yes, blueletterbible.com. That's a great place to go and view multiple translations next to each other. That would be my recommendation for that. So that is what I have for the show tonight for episode 21. Again, I would love to. I know that I can't express this enough. I would love to talk more about Bible software. For me to be in one of my most nerdiest states is to talk about Bible software. I love it. I love Logos. It is such a good resource. I can't express how much I love it enough. If you want to learn more about it, please feel free to message me. I had planned on before this show, I had planned on doing some videos because I got version 8 and there's so many good things about it. I had planned on doing that. However, I just haven't had time. So pay attention for that. But that's episode 21. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there was a resource that you want to learn more about, feel free to send me a message or comment below on the video. I will post the show on podcast later this evening. And what else do we have going on? I'll post the video on YouTube as well. And then make sure you go to theologynights.com to interact with us throughout the week. Blog articles, podcasts, YouTube videos, a little bit of everything on the website. Try to link you to other resources going on in the blogging community. Hey, Josh Jenkins just showed up. Josh Jenkins, it is very nice to see you, buddy. And I'm sorry that we don't get to talk more because the show is now over. However, I just wanted to say hi specifically to you, Josh Jenkins, and I hope you are doing well. I hope your wife and child are doing also well. And for everyone else that joined tonight, thank you for the continued support. I was thinking about this earlier today. We have been doing this for 6 months, every Friday night, with the exception of 3. We have met every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. For 6 months, and it's very humbling that people still show up. It's very humbling that more people are showing up. It's very humbling that people in the community are saying like, hey, I watched your show, or even my wife was out the other day and somebody knew her because of the show, which is it's very cool. It's just a testimony to Christ working through the ministry of Theology Nights to encourage sound theology, not just from us, but from so many other great resources that are on the internet, and we will continue to do that. So check out the YouTube page, subscribe, youtube.com/theologynights, facebook.com/theologynights, and theologynights.com. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Oh, and one other thing. I can't express my gratitude. I'm going to end on this note because it's going to upset everybody. I can't express my gratitude that when I woke up this morning, there was snow on the ground. Winter is here. I am so excited, and I know that everybody in Northeast Ohio and most people across the country hate winter. I love winter. Was so happy for snow. Take that, summer. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great night. See ya.